As the year is wrapping up, it is time once again to be ranking video games in a numerical fashion. That's right, it is time for the did/didn't playlist of 2025. This was a pretty good year for video games. I got a lot that I played and a lot that I didn't, so let's just jump right into it. As always, we begin with the Didn't playlist. This is the list of games that were announced and haven't come out yet, probably next year or two, or the games that did come out that I really wanted to play but never got a chance to. These are the games that you might see in the future on the back burner for the channel or streaming, or just stuff I really want to play on my own. It's a good list, but it's actually got a couple entries that are gonna be quite quick to run through. Lucky me. Because there's a few games that are tentatively not having a lot of information on them. We're only going with vibes and the previous entries in their game series. So, without further ado, let's go with number 7. I wasn't actually planning on having 7 entries in this list. It only was 5 just a few days ago, but the Game Awards happened, and 2 specific trailers, obviously, are going to be put on this list, so that is why it is at 7. And with that, the 7th entry is going to be Divinity Original Sin 3? I don't know. Honestly, we don't know anything except for that trailer, and, I mean, going on what Larian's done in the past, including now Baldur's Gate 3, I think it's pretty safe to say that the game is going to be really good. Now, the question comes from, will it be a CRPG or something else entirely? They did say that they were gonna kind of steer away from the RPG genre, but they did lie about what they were working on currently, so who knows? Either way, I'm very excited to see how it turns out. Rolling in at number 6 is, again, a sequel to a game that I am basically in love with, but we have little to no information going into it. But if it's anything like the previous game, it's gonna be a good one. Number 6 goes to Enter the Gungeon 2. That is probably, well, Enter the Gungeon is probably my favorite roguelite game. It just beats out Isaac because it has a little bit more skill to it. I do love my Binding of Isaac, but Enter the Gungeon, that's one of the few games that I have really tried to 100% for achievements, and I came very close. I think I have like 2 or 3 more, but that's probably not going to ever happen. And Enter the Gungeon 2 is probably going to be up there with its, first game, and technically second game. So technically this is Enter the Gungeon 3, because there's Exit the Gungeon, which was good. It was fine. But yeah, no, if it's anything like the first game, I'm gonna just love it. And, based on its trailer, has a nice new lick of paint. So, it's gonna look real pretty doing it. The next game is going to be a bit of a surprise to some of you, because I don't think I streamed it. No, I don't think I streamed the first game in this series, called Grime. It was a Metroidvania game that I got for free, because Epic Store drops, and I did have my eye on it for a while, obviously, because Hollow Knight was such a terrific game. Metroidvanias abound started coming out of the woodwork, and Grime was the one that caught my eye because of its art style, but I got mixed signals from people reviewing it, so I kind of just didn't touch it. Then I got it for free on Epic and decided, you know what, fuck it. Let's just play it and see how it goes. And for the start of it, I did like it, but I don't know, it wasn't quite hitting. But then at a certain point, the ball really started to roll, and I was really catching on, and oh no, this game is actually really, really good. It is Metroidvania, obviously, but with a little bit of an RPG, Soulsy, stat boosty stuff, with multiple different weapons and abilities that are pretty cool. So when I saw that the sequel was coming out not too long ago, obviously I'm going to be kind of excited to play the sequel. So that's what's in the number 5 spot. Grime 2. We are taking on a different character, I think, based around mold? Maybe got some inspiration from Resident Evil, but nevertheless, if it's anything like the first game, it's gonna have some fun platforming mechanics. That's the key thing that really broke out from me. If you have to actually compare it, it does come close to some Hollow Knight platforming. Not by much, but it does have those moments of, oh, I have to actually be on the ball and pay attention and jump, dash, go over there, under a boss. It had some stuff going on, plus it had a cool parry system, and the main character was literally a black hole? It's a weird game. I might want to stream it, actually. You know what? No, I probably will stream it before the second game comes out. But, nevertheless, little to no information. Again, theme for this didn't playlist. But again, if it's anything like the first game, I'll probably really enjoy it. Number 4 also is not a title we know very little about. However, unlike the previous games that were on this list that had sequels that were sequels, this one is a spin-off of something completely different. Vampire Crawlers gets the number 4 spot because, I love Vampire Survivor. It keeps growing, and it keeps pulling me back in. Every little update, every little bit of DLC, I keep trying to unlock everything. I keep playing that game because it's really, really good. And Vampire Crawlers is supposed to be a deck-building dungeon crawler? Roguelite thing? You're ticking the boxes. You're ticking the boxes that I truly love. So of course I'm going to want to play it. And because I know the love and dedication that Vampire Survivors gets, I'm only going to assume that Crawlers is going to get it too. That's why it's marked quite high in the Didn't playlist at number 4. Though, again, not much information is known about it. That's the catchphrase of this year, I would say. But I think whatever the case may be, I'm giving the developers the benefit of the doubt because they know what they're doing. So it's gonna be good. Will it be extremely excellent good? That is still meant to be seen. But, based on their previous title, yeah, it's probably gonna be. I don't remember if I talked about this particular title last year. I'm not going to go and look it up, but so I'm just going to do it again right now. But I will say, if I did talk about it last year, I probably didn't say much because there was very little information of it to go on. There was the title, and I think that was it. But now, after the year has passed and we are, well, a year older, we know tons of more information. In fact, the game came out. It was Elden Ring Night Rain. And, it's a little weird, isn't it? Changing the entire game up from being, well, what a Souls-like is, dungeon crawler, souls die, run back for your soul body experience. What is Souls like anyway? To a roguelite run doing ever shrinking circle extraction thing. But it works. At least I assume it works. I haven't played it, obviously. It's why it's on the number 3 spot. But, I mean, it's real interesting. And I think I will play it a lot. Not because it's an Elden Ring FromSoft title, but because it's an Elden Ring title that has a lot of replayability. Yes, Elden Ring and its Erdtree DLC can be replayed, but there's that freshness, that exploring it for the first time freshness that I really look out for in a Souls-like open world thing. I can play it again, and I can play it a bunch of times and enjoy the hell out of it, but not like the first time. But with Night Rain, with the random stuff, with the roguelite elements, with different characters that have different little stories you can work on and find out more information, that seems a lot more replayable. I mean, especially to me, because I love roguelites and roguelikes and all those kinds of things. So it's the good combat from Elden Ring, but in a format that I really jive with. Yeah, no, I really want to play Night Rain. I know that they just released some DLC, a couple new characters, and a maybe new boss. I might pick it up. I don't know if I'm going to pick it up. I'm not feeling like playing that kind of game quite yet. But when I do, this is going to be the first game I go to. I mean, there are a couple other Souls-likes that I am interested in playing, but they are Souls-likes. They are story go through, beat the final boss kind of thing. Night Rain is more floaty and whatnot, and how you progress. So yeah, no, I think the next title, when I do feel like doing an action combat-y thing, will be Night Rain, and that is why it gets the number 3 spot. Okay, this was where the real shuffle came from. Because remember when I said the Game Awards said 2 titles and we've only talked about 1? Yeah, this is where the second title lands. Of course, I'm going to put Control Resonant at number 2. I loved Control. Despite it having a bit of a rocky start for me, and I had to kind of play it a second time on my own to really appreciate and really get into it, it's still one of, like, the most weird favorite games I have. And yeah, I'll take the second. I'll take the sequel. I'll take something that takes the original core concept and the world that Remedy has created and completely kind of change its gameplay style. It's gonna be an action combat game with punchy, fighty mechanics and a big old fucking hammer and some kind of geometrically inclined, beautifully haunting imagery. The game's gonna be fucking nuts. And this is still coming from me, who hasn't played Alan Wake 2 yet, because I don't know how weird that game got, alright? Still very far, no spoilers in that game. I don't know how fucked up that game got. I can only assume Resonant is going to go higher. And that's on top of what Control already was, so we're getting some weird acid trip bullshit, and I'm so here for it. And that's why it has hit the second spot, because also, I will say, we know a little bit more about this game because the trailer actually showed some really compelling gameplay. So, that's why Control Resonant takes the 2 spot, whereas the other maybe questionable games on this list haven't gotten as high. Finally, at the number 1 spot, we have a game that, while I really wanted to play day 1 when it first launched, I kind of was a bit tentative because it had a few mixed reviews. Yes, it hit, again, all those ticked boxes that I keep talking about. It's a really interesting puzzle game with different layers to it. It's got roguelite elements that obviously I am going to be interested in, though the two media game mechanics kind of fight each other, which is kind of the mixed reviews. I'm talking about Blueprints, the blueprint game that has you randomly have different rooms inside of a giant mansion that each have their own little puzzle element slash mechanics slash greater whole puzzle element of things. I really, really like the concept of Blueprints, but as reviews came out and people were talking about it, saying that the game was really, really good, but as you kept playing it and knew the solutions that you had to do, the game wasn't letting you do them because the randomness was randoming everything. Luckily, by now, since I'm talking about it, patches have been out. I don't really know what they entail. I kept far away from this game because other than the concept and a little bit of gameplay from what I've seen, it's a puzzle game, so I have to stay completely blind of it. So I don't know if it was improved enough, patched enough to be out of that mixed review stasis. I know that it's heavily regarded as a very good puzzle game and roguelite, so yes, I will play it eventually, but we'll see if it smoothed out its rough patches as it everyone says it had. That being said, I still really, really want to play it. I'm probably going to pick it up over Christmas and the winter sale, along with maybe a couple other titles that we talked about here today. But yeah, that's number one, Blueprints. Hopefully it's really good. I'm putting a lot of faith into it, so fingers crossed. But yeah, tentative on if it's... we'll see. We'll see. Before we get into my favorite games this year, we have an honorable mention to, specifically, a pair of DLCs that went to one game in particular. That game being RimWorld and its DLCs of Anomaly and Odyssey. Now, I know Anomaly came out not this year, doesn't matter, fuck it, honorable mention shit. Odyssey came out this year. That's what really got me back into RimWorld. But I still had my eye on Anomaly. So, with its announcement and price drop and stuff, I picked up Anomaly before Odyssey to get my, feet back into the RimWorld genre. Well, game, management and all of that, and having everyone horribly die, because Anomaly added in weird eldritch monsters and events and a monolith that makes you go fucking insane. So of course I wanted it. I know that players in the RimWorld fanbase didn't necessarily like it as much as some of the other DLCs, but for me and how I play and what I'm looking for, it fit perfectly. Just weird little events that happened every now and then to shake up the, in my opinion, somewhat mundane other events that happen in RimWorld. It's kind of why I stopped playing RimWorld. They all kind of blended together in events and new places to settle. Still love it, absolutely, the management and building and getting everyone not killed. I love the game. Never finished it, though, because at a certain point it just felt too repetitive. But with Eldritch Horrors and a cube that makes you so happy, you love the cube. Don't you love the cube? I want to be with the cube. It actually shook up the mundanity of everything. So, yeah, no, I actually really liked that DLC. But what really got me back was Odyssey and its spaceship just management stuff. I was actually looking for a game like RimWorld, but you make your own spaceship. Almost a little like FTL, but again, more management, more sim-like. And I had a couple nailed down and I was watching, but then Odyssey was released and they went away because Odyssey fills the entire need of what I wanted. Obviously, you can make your own spaceship in any form you want, with limitations, obviously, but any form you want, and you can just live on it. You can live on that spaceship and travel around the world, fuck up everything. You can do a raiding party, you can have like, oh, I want to colonize the moon, or you can just have a little ship that helps you go one place to another to get resources for your major base. It opened up a lot of possibilities for me and how I, again, play with like, oh, I have this one base, this is what I build up, but now I can move that one base all over the world. It was really cool. I really like that DLC. I'm still gonna be trying to pick up Ideology. I think that Trinity, for me, is going to be the Trinity, unless they have something real interesting, weird coming up, whatever their next DLC was. But yeah, other than Ideology, those two DLCs were really fun. And yeah, I'm thinking about, at some point, doing a permadeath in RimWorld. I don't know how, because there's a lot of downtime. It's still kind of being put together in my brain, but I had the idea of it. I want to see how things play out. I'll do some research. Not promising anything, but I kind of want to make a permadeath spaceship. That's kind of what I want to do now. The time has come. The top 7 best games of 2025. Now, as always, there is the stipulation of they did not have to come out in 2025. They just had to be played by me for the first time in 2025. That doesn't mean there aren't any new games that were released and played this year, but if you're going to be in the comments going, that didn't come out in 2020. No, fuck you. This is my list. I say this every year. It's my list, my reviews, my fun that I had. And hopefully I can highlight a few titles that you didn't realize were really fun. There's a couple here. Yeah, 2 specifically, actually. I want to say 3, but no, 2 specifically that you probably never heard of or whatnot, that I really liked this year, that definitely did not come out this year, but they were really good. So, let's get started, shall we? At the number 7 slot, we have possibly the most surprising entry in this list. I love Legos. That is a fact. I unfortunately do not get to play with enough Legos in my current life because, well, it's a real faff to get them out of the closet here and then find a space to play with them. I have very little table space or floor space in my room. It's got the desk here with the computer on it. Clarice is nice and happy. I have other things that aren't really that good for sitting in front of, but they're also all cluttered. I'd use the floor, but I'm old and my knees hurt. So anytime I get to play with Legos as a video game is even rarer, actually, because a lot of the video games out there for Lego are meant for kids. Even though, with that said, I still am interested in playing them, and one game in particular I got this year, pretty damn cheaply, that was Lego Brick Tales, and it gets my 7th spot because it made me feel like a kid again. You know, I'm only 34, obviously, but like a single-digit kid that played with Lego. It has so much charm to it. I loved this game. If you are not familiar with Brick Tales, it is an adventure game where your crazy uncle, I think it was uncle or grandfather, made a portal device that went to different dimensions. And with the help of a sentient little robot guy, you go to those dimensions, make people happy, bring that happy energy back to your world, and make roller coasters. I said what I said. That's what the game is. But the real actual gameplay here is puzzles. Specifically, building little brick paths or staircases or other structures, and so to hit certain criteria in order to progress and make people happy, essentially. It was really nice. The vibe I got immediately from the game was that of the old 90-something Windows 95, 98, that's what I'm talking about, by the way, Lego games. One I played the most, Lego Islands 2, that was my PC video game that I always went back to, even though, looking back at it now, there wasn't much to play. But it was still my favorite. This gave me those same vibes of cheesy, little bit, modern joke, but it was still really, really fun. So surprising. The only thing that let it down was the last third, I would say. It started really well, and it kept the momentum going for a while, but the last 2 worlds, I wouldn't say it felt rushed, but it felt a little bit more empty than the first couple worlds. So that's kind of why it went down a bit on the rankings, plus the other games on this list hit way harder. This was a more nostalgic pick for me, but that's why it hits number 7. It's really good. I streamed it, so if you're interested, go to my streaming archive channel, go watch me play it, see me squee and have a really, well, you're not going to see me have a really big smile on my face, but you know what I mean. You're going to feel the happiness from it. But yeah, that's why Lego Brick Tales takes number 7. I just thought it was super goddamn charming. At the number 6 spot, we have a sequel to a game that I ranked in the past as, I think, number 1 game of the year, I don't remember what year it was, but it hit number 1. And when I heard there was a sequel, immediately picked it up. That is Islanders New Shores. Islanders was the go-to podcast game for me for a good solid year and a half. It is a minimalistic, chilled out, relaxing city builder, and then it's not. And that's what I really loved about it. You could take your time and just make something pretty, or you can min-max the shit out of every building you played. And I got really good at that game. But when New Shores came out, I was a little worried, because the balance and, the mechanics and the balance of the first game were really good, but how could you improve it? Obviously, you can make different varied islands. Sure, that would change things up, but adding new buildings, that would kind of that might break things when it comes to order of operations and how min-maxy you can get. And I was wrong, because as I played the New Shores, I realized, oh no, the new buildings actually add a completely different element. It does change how you do certain things, yes, but in a good way. So let's get into it. For the first bit, it's the same game but better. If you like Islanders, you will like New Shores. No complaints there. The second thing, though, is that Islanders goes a slightly different direction into not quite a deck builder. Not quite. It hits a note, but not the notes that make it fully. So, in the main game, you pick an island, place buildings on it, you get a score. If you get a big enough score, you get to travel to the next island. Simple as that. Or you place enough buildings down, get enough, points, move on to the next island. And in the first game, you just moved on to the next island. That's it. In New Shores, you actually get to pick which island you go to. You get 2 choices, each one having a different theme. So you get a little bit of control of what stuff you want to build. If you want to go to a lush, foresty, woodsy island, it's right there. If you want to go to something that's a little bit more icy, where certain buildings are going to be less effective, yes, you can go there. But whichever one you choose, you get an unlocked building. You can either get like an aviary, which if you get it early on, it builds in points the more you place it on the future islands. You can then unlock the temple, which originally was just a regular building. Now it is an unlock, but now you have to build specifically for the temple, as you would, but with other limitations here and there. And every island you progress through, you unlock a different building and a different building, kind of changing the run a little bit as you go. Again, very minor deck builder, but that new variety and the piecemealing of the new buildings makes it much more digestible. Along with the island types, there are much more interesting islands. Yes, you have the regular islands, the small to large. Then you have mountainous islands and icy ones that I mentioned before. But then there are these lava platform volcano islands that are super difficult to build, but can be very rewarding at times. It's really interesting, and you can make and break your run with which island you go to next, obviously, as well. Which goes into the real meat and potatoes of the game that I really loved, the min-maxing. You can start off being, oh yeah, we're just going to make a nice little island. We'll go from island to island and get these buildings. Or, okay, I need to get this building in this order with this island and this so-and-so. It was so fun going from the first island to the last, because there is an ending. There is a last island, and I made it all the way to the ending, and it was tense. That last 5 islands were... they were real nail-biters of will I move on. I loved this game, and it only goes to show how high some of the other games on this list are, where this is number 6. On the number 5 spot, we have the game that dethroned the number 6 spot for my podcast in the background, veg out, relax title of the game. That's right, we have the game that took over New Shores' place for just the game I play all the time in my free time. That game is called Crop Rotation. Now, maybe you recognize the title. Doubtful, but I have actually talked about this game before on this channel. It was in a Flash Player episode where we played the browser demo version of this game. Quick summary of that as well. It is a deck building, farming, auto placement management game where you put together a bunch of crops that have different powers and different abilities, and you put them in a little tableau of a deck with limited space, and then every day, based on how much farming land you have, they place in random orders. And depending on where they place, which order they're placed in, what kind of touching synergies that they have, you gain money, And by the end of the month, you have to pay a certain amount of money, and it keeps growing and growing and growing. Very, very good game. But that, like I said, was the demo. And if the base demo version was really good, well, you have to assume that the full version is excellent. And it is. Not only do you have new crops, new bonus objective / points getting side cards and farm animals, you have different types of crops and their synergies on how they work, and different, there's just so much. There's so much variety of it, and you'd think, because of how many crops and how many animals and different points contracts you would get, it would get, well, as a deck builder, the more you have, the harder it is to synergize all the cards and balance everything for every kind of playstyle. But this game does it so well on a razor's edge. No matter how many types of different cards and deck types I unlocked as I kept playing, each one still worked so well with the previous. And after I unlocked everything, it's so harmonious. Each card and the abilities and the point system and everything that you're managing works so well together. It is a hard thing to do when it comes to perfect balance, and this game just perfectly balances all of it. So much so that I have only one achievement to get in the game, the 1,000-point achievement. And you'd think, oh, wow, no, 1,000 points? That's not too difficult to get. No, it is. Even getting the 900-point variant of the game, it was a bit of a stretch. I did it, but just getting that 1,000 points, it is a min-maxing, different type of deck nightmare to do. And if you like min-maxing, oh my god, are you going to love this game. The amount of just, okay, I can squeeze out like 2 extra points, 2 extra coins each turn with this change in placement and this tier upgrade for the next turn, and those matter when you are getting high up there in the, oh, I have to pay how much of a scaling grade of points? It's a lot. On top of that, they have different modes and weekly challenges, so yeah, there's just so much to play, and the puzzle element of putting those different synergies together just keep me coming back to more. It's so good. If you are a deck builder, if you are liking those genres, or a management type title, you will absolutely get a kick out of it. I have wanted to stream it, but for some reason it doesn't want me streaming it. The game, kind of like how Slay the Spire doesn't like the software that I use for like capturing it. It doesn't work. And I'm so sad about that, because if I could, I would be doing an entire day, if not like every Friday when I do my low-key chill streams, it would just be crop rotation. It would all just be crop rotation. So yeah, it deserves the 5 spot. Absolutely. And you should absolutely also go check it out, if not the video that I made of it a long time ago, just to know, how good I'm actually not hyping the game up. It's that good. Okay, let's come down from that. let's bring the hype down just a little bit, because now for our number 4 spot, we are playing a chiller game, though some might argue of how relaxed this game is. Also, some might argue how good this game is, because the title for the number 4 spot is Monster Hunter Wilds, a very decisive game in the Monster Hunter community, and one I actually really, really like, which I will get into thusly. So if you are familiar with the Monster Hunter genre, it is quite simple. You go out, you fight a monster, you skin its face, you take it back, and you make pants. So that you can go out and skin other monsters to make other types of accoutrements, and fight more and more and more difficult monsters. Now, that doesn't sound relaxing, but the way Monster Hunter Wilds handles its flow actually really spoke to me and really jived really well with it. In the past, we'll take Monster Hunter Worlds, for example. Well, no, even previous titles that I've played. It's a very structured. Monster Hunter is a structured game. You have your hub. You have then a notice board that says, hey, here are your level 1 quests. Go do these, and once you've done enough, you'll get level 2, and then level 3, and on and on and on and on. So then you pick the thing, you go eat some food, you go fight the monster, you go do some gathering, and so on and so forth. And then the cycle continues. But in the newer versions of Monster Hunter, the Wilds and the Worlds, even, at points, you had a much more open experience. In Worlds, it was an open world that you could just kind of go back and forth around and explore various areas and maybe run into a monster and hunt it and whatnot, gather resources. It was really good, and I actually do want to go back to it to compare a few things, just for my own sanity. But in Wilds, that flow changed maybe a little too much for what people wanted. Instead of the notice board stuff, we do have a handler that gives us our quests, but you're more free-forming. You're free-flowing through the levels. Hey, I'm going to go gather some resources, and oh, the monster that I've actually wanted to hunt has popped up. Okay, we'll go and fight that. Cool. All right, we're done with this hunt. Oh, I just got a notification that a different monster in a different area is coming out. Oh, it's got some good stuff that I can carve from it. Okay, we'll go over there and do that. And so on and so forth. You kind of just move with the wind, essentially. Exploring, hunting, what you choose, kind of relaxed freeform, like I was saying. I really jived with that kind of gameplay style. I really did, because I'm much more laid back and let's just enjoy the game. We're gonna have fun. Oh God, it's eating my face. Yeah, no, we're fine. We're just gonna enjoy the game. I can totally see why other people that play Monster Hunter and like those titles bounced off of it. I fully understand. Also, we aren't necessarily going into the entire performance and terrible, I don't know, patches that have come out with this game. We're putting that on the side, because for me, I was able to play Monster Hunter Wilds pretty flawlessly. I mean, there were flaws, obviously, in certain performance mentions. A little bit of stuttering, definitely some pop-in, textures not loading. Obviously, yes, that is a thing, but a lot of people had it a lot worse. And that definitely scorned a lot of people off of the game and rating it really, really bad. I did not have that problem. The game ran fine, though it may have done some every year there's a game that does just a little bit of damage to my current PC, and it might have done that for me again. But for me, it was fine. But I can totally see why other people hated it. But now, it has been patched a little bit more. It had some more problems, but the game has kept going, and it's gotten better reviews. Still not great, but that doesn't really matter to me specifically, because I like it. Is it the perfect Monster Hunter game? No. No. I do actually prefer the structure, here's your tiered list of 1, 2, 3 level missions. Go do those in any order you want. I like that. The menuing and the UI of Wilds is not great. It's not. It's not great. But the vibe is, for me. I think this year was a very vibe-heavy year, when it came to my video games that I really enjoyed, and Worlds just kind of delivered that. So if you like a more laid-back, relaxed Monster Hunter, it might be worth checking out. If not, go back to Worlds. Although, Worlds servers are going to be shutting down. I don't know if it's I think I heard something about that. I think there was a notification on Steam for like news and whatnot that game is having its servers shut down. So that's a little bit of that's not great. But then again, I don't play with people, so I can still jump back into it and I'll be fine. But yeah, if you are a Monster Hunter fan, it probably will be fine. It's not going to be your favorite, but, you know, I like it. And I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of DLCs they put. Okay. Now it's time for the heavy hitters. Top 3. Here we go. Number 3 is... We're going to get into some shit here with number 3. Because I thought, after all this time, after all this polish, after all these delays, I thought this game was going to be a shoo-in for the number 1 spot this year. I really did. But unfortunately, things happened. And we will talk about... I have wanted to talk about this since I played this game. At the number 3 spot, we have, surprisingly, Hollow Knight Silksong. We're getting into this. Okay, so... what is wrong with... well, okay, let's start with what's right. Because I specifically have a very specific reason why well, okay. I don't want to say I hate this game. Because I don't. I love this game. At least 2/3 of this game. Okay, let's begin. So, for my birthday present this year, I got myself Hollow Knight Silksong because it came out in September, and that's when my birthday is, and I knew the day, the weekend, obviously, the time it came out, I was just going to no-life this. I was going to play, I was going to relax. This isn't a stream game, this is for me. This is a me game. Just like Hollow Knight was when it first came, well, when I first played it, it is a me game. Because the vibes are immaculate. I want to be immersed. I want to just melt into my chair. And I did. Once the game started in Act 1, I couldn't stop smiling. It was a little bit different. Hornet controls differently than the Vessel. But I did like it. And as I kept moving forward in Act 1... the platforming was there, but it was a little bit harder. The fighting was there, but it was a little bit harder. And I didn't mind the difficulty. I honestly didn't, because the gameplay and the feel and how you went back and forth and the scale, we'll talk about scale when we get into Act 2, but it felt like what I remembered Hollow Knight. And I had reinstalled Hollow Knight recently, before it came out, before Silksong came out, just to be like, okay, let me get the vibes back, let me see if this hits the same, and I played Hollow Knight for a while, and that was great. And then when Silksong came out, I was just, it was a 1-2. It was like, oh, I'm from this game, oh, I'm from that game. It's the same vibe. It hits the exact same notes, but it's just a little bit more difficult. And I loved it. Absolutely. And then we get into Act 2. We journeyed all the way through this new area, just kept expanding, more things, all these little new mechanics, the crests, the tools. It was just add-ons and things that were so fun to do. And Act 2 starts after that. Honestly, yes, I completely understand why people fucking rage at that, that boss before you get into Act 2. I had some fun with that. That was a good moment for me. But we get into Act 2, and I'm thinking, okay, we're gonna have the same map, well, kind of the same map size that we had previously, just more, and I was not disappointed. The game literally doubled in size. I don't want to say the first act map is as big as Hollow Knight. I want to say it's a little bit less. But once you get into Act 2, that map just blows the first map out of the water. It's ginormous. It is huge. And new world building stuff starts kicking in with why and how you are here and stuff. I still don't want to go into spoilers necessarily. I'll put my finger up when spoilers do happen. We'll get into that. But as I kept going through Act 2, the smile just kept getting bigger. The sinking in the chair just got... I was almost merged with this chair for the amount of time I played that game. It was so fucking rewarding to play it. It was difficult, it was challenging, and it was fun. And then I beat Act 2. And then I did the bonus stuff to do the next ending. Because obviously, okay, we're getting an Act 3. If you didn't have the Act 1, 2, and 3 structure, you wouldn't be getting an Act 3, obviously. So I was looking forward to Act 3. I was very curious on how it was going to top. Not top, but how it was going to conclude. Because of how certain events go off and how you learn certain characters and what's going on and why you're there. I was actually very curious on what the bonus secret ending was going to be. And then everything came crashing down, both literally and figuratively, for those who have beaten Act 2. When we got into Act 3, things changed. And not for the better. Enemies became more challenging, but not in a fun way. And as I progressed, I realized, first thing, this is probably why the game got delayed as much as it did. Because there's a lot of work that went into Act 3. I'm not gonna say no. That's a lot of good work. But as I progressed, as I started to trudge through Act 3, I realized, this is too much. There were still good moments in the game. There are still great moments, but this is where I realized this is where it starts feeling bloated. Yes, you have your main objective to get to the end and finish the game, but I'm not enjoying it as much as I was. And it's off to a point where I was starting to really get frustrated with not just the bosses, but the traversal and everything that was there, to the point where I just stopped playing. I picked it back up after like a couple days to give myself a break, but after that I stopped. I haven't played Silksong since September. And it's a real darn shame. The game hit such a high in the first and second act. But that third act for me dropped it. It hit so low. And maybe if it didn't hit as low, it wouldn't be as bad, but it was so disappointing. To the point where, I think yesterday, new DLC was announced. It's free, obviously, because Team Cherry are fucking mad people. But instead of excitement for new stuff, I mean, I don't necessarily care. I'm still going to play it. I'm actually quite curious on how they're going to integrate this DLC with, you know, the 3-act structure and what exactly has happened. Again, we'll get into spoilers in a second, but I'm not excited for the DLC like I should be. With Hollow Knight, When I heard, oh, there's some new stuff in it, I was like, great, throw me in, coach. Silksong didn't do that for me. I'm not excited for new stuff in Silksong because already that game is too much. And now there's going to be even more stuff. And probably even more stuff after that. And that entire third act, I didn't like. And for that, it gets the number 3 spot. I wanted it. I wanted so badly to hit number 1 this year. But it fell like a stone. Okay, don't normally do this, obviously, but spoiler warning. We're going to go into spoilers now. That was for the, people that don't want to hear the spoilers. There's my review, there's the honest opinions, there's all that stuff. This is the part where it's like, okay, let's actually pinpoint what the fuck went wrong with Silksong. Alright? So if you don't want to be spoiled for the end of Act 2 and other things that have happened in the game, I'm definitely time coding stuff. So just skip ahead. You'll see in the description somewhere. If you want to hear what my thoughts, my real true thoughts, stay tuned. Alright? We're going in 3, 2, 1. Fuck the Abyss. Not the level itself, but the effect it had on everything, okay? So, Act 1, pretty normal stuff. Act 2, oh, this is why the world's fucked up, and we're gonna try and fix it. Okay, Act 3, oh, we fucked up by trying to fix it and not being selfish. Totally okay with that. Honestly, okay, story-wise, really do love the story in this, even through Act 3. And as Act 3 started, and I started playing it and realized what the mechanic of the new act was, which, okay, yes, this is the spoiler section, but we'll get to it in a sec. As I figured the new mechanic, I suddenly winced. That doesn't sit right with me, especially when I got my ass kicked way too many times. But that happened, and then we went down into the Abyss, which was fine. I liked the new level, and then we tried to escape the Abyss, which was actually a really hype moment, not gonna lie. But then we need to fight 3 new bosses, which, okay, that's fine. I like the bosses. Oh, they're just really unfair. They're fun, but they're unfair, and the runs to them are, well, one of the runs to them is, oh no, I'm not having fun anymore. I'm not having fun with this game anymore. So, the main thing that happened in Act 3 was you beat the queen, you beat, or whatever her name was called, you beat her, and with the help of the shamans, you seal her in the Abyss. Unfortunately, when she is trying to break out of the Abyss just fucks up the entire world that you have explored. And everything changes. This one thing is probably why the game took so long to release, because of what I hear about Team Cherry. They don't really have a structure to their creative process. They do things what they like to feel, and what they feel like kind of just happens in the game. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but because I honestly think they finished Act 1 and Act 2 and did something for the secret ending, and then they were like, oh, I have this idea. Okay, we'll extend the game for another development time, another year or two. Because everywhere you go in Act 3 has completely background, foreground, enemy-wise changed. And already up to Act 1 and Act 2, that's a big game. That is a huge game. And Act 3 comes along, and you have to do new background art, new sprite work, new mechanics, on top of expanding other areas. There's a whole dreamscape area off in Mantis Land that was... what? Along with other extra bosses, which I'm okay with having other extra bosses. They're optional. But that's other things that took time away from the game mainly being developed. Okay. But this is where the bloat starts coming in. This is like, oh, there's like 7 or 8 new bosses. Sure. What do you get from them? Just a medal? Okay. So what was the point? Was the point just to fight them? Sure, okay. The problem, though, where the enjoyment could happen there, it's like, oh, new bosses. Yeah, that'd be fun to fight. Sure. The problem then comes down to the new mechanic that is installed into Act 3. The enemies that you have been fighting have been tainted by the Abyss. So every enemy now has the potential to two-hit, well, not technically two-hit you, to damage you, because it's not technically a two-hit. Whereas the normal enemy maybe have hit you and you lose one thing of health. Fine. But like a strong enemy, they hit you and you lose 2 pips of health. That's a strong attack. Okay. We can work with that. That's where the difficulty comes in from Act 1 and Act 2 and the scaling from Hollow Knight to now Silksong. I was fine with that. I want to be very perfectly honest here. I was fine with the 2-hit scaling because Hornet is much more mobile. She has a lot more to her kit. It was doable and enjoyably doable. Keyword enjoyably doable here. But once the Abyss stuff started happening, every enemy starts two-hitting you. And once every enemy starts two-hitting you, you realize that the tiny amount of health you have, even if you've acquired quite a few mask pieces and expanded your health, isn't enough. Okay, let's talk about traversal. Because this is the thing, okay? When you go from the whole thing, it's so hard to fucking talk about this because I know that I've pinpointed the reason why I don't like this, and it's so hard to put into words. And it frustrates me to no end because I really did like this game. I loved this game. So, okay. When it comes to difficulty, there are levels of enjoyment. There's the, oh, this is a cakewalk. Then there's the, oh, okay, I'm having a challenge. This is fun. And then there's the, oh, I'm hitting my head against a brick wall over and over again. But there's a level to that brick wall. There's a, oh, I'm still enjoying myself hitting my head against a brick wall. But then it can very easily tip over to the not enjoyable. And as I've been saying, Act 3 tips that scale. And the reason is the simplest of the simple what? I don't want to say traversal. The simple mechanics, simple nuances, simple mundanities. The simple small things. All right? The simple small things in Silksong, like moving around the map. Not using the tunnels, not using the beetle dog thing. Just the going from point A to point B on your own walking. All right? That is kind of what this game is. The vibe and the background and the immersion. But when you add that extra layer of difficulty to every enemy you now meet, or almost every enemy you now meet, that enjoyable mundanity, the stuff that you are liking, becomes tainted. And it broke the vibe. And then you're just going through things for the sake of going through things, and it just feels like bloat at that point as well, because you could have wrapped up Act 3 actually rather quickly. Yes, you could still have had the Abyss stuff, with the going down and figuring out what the fuck's going on, and then going back up with that awesome run, and then maybe some other things here and there. But what happens, because you have to go quite a far distance around the map and keep exploring to find other things, it's a chore to keep exploring. At least for me. Maybe other people didn't feel that, but I doubt that. It's a chore to keep going around the world and exploring new things. But that's kind of what the game is. It's a Metroidvania where the map ever expands. But if you never want to explore the map anymore, then you've broken your main core concept. And then as a reward for trudging through this exploration that's not fun anymore, you fight a boss that, while it can be fun, when you die you have to do a run back, which isn't fun, because like I said, the moving around the map isn't fun anymore. But then when you find this boss and are like, oh, what do I get from it? Do I get this cool new weapon? Do I get this cool thing that I can use? Is it a skin for... I would have been fine with different outfits for Hornet if it meant fighting this really difficult boss. But no, it's a medal. You get a little tiny medal that says, good job, you did it. And it's just displayed in your home that you rarely go to, because there are so many other places you can go to and sit and rest. Okay. Well, possibly this other area has... Nope. Oh, well, also, I hadn't collected every single thing that I needed to, like lockets and pale ore and upgrades. I should probably go... Oh, it's more difficult now because I didn't do it in Act 2. I didn't do the Gourmand achievement. Okay. There is an NPC that says, hey, go all over the world and get these 5 ingredients. Once you get those 5 ingredients, come back to me. I will give you this pale ore. You can upgrade your needle, and it'll do more damage. Obviously, yes, we're going to do that. But I, thinking, of course, oh, we're just going to continue the game and everything is going to be fine. You know, stupid me. I thought, okay, you know what? I can beat Act 2 now. I'm gonna unlock the new ending. I'm gonna, we'll get the other 2 bits of thing, or the other bits of thing later. And then all shit happens. And I realize, oh, I need to make my nail stronger. But then I have to go around exploring again to get these things, which again, tedium. But what really cinched the fuck up with me is I had one boss one specific boss, the crow food lady, lunch lady, whatever. That it wasn't a crow. That's a different thing entirely. The lunch lady bug. In the poison swamp. No, not that poison swamp. The other poison swamp. The bug lady, lunch lady. I had fought her a bunch of times, and I was like, nope, I can't beat her right now. I'll come back to her later, and later never came until Act 3. So I knew when it changed. I already was having a hard time fighting it. But then that abyssal taint suddenly added a new mechanic to the boss fight. And I lost it. I was already having a hard time with it, and it's now even more hard. And then I just thought back, okay, if this is happening with this boss, what if I had not fought other bosses? Optional bosses that got me rewards. But then I'm also thinking, okay, well, they expect me to do this now, more difficult, to get a nail upgrade, where I need a nail upgrade. No, not nail. Needle upgrade to actually do this. Act 3 became so convoluted and miserable. Again, it was so disappointing to me. And I haven't touched it since. Well, yeah, that's my spoiler review of Silksong there. If you agree with me, please tell me. Or if there are other reasons why you dropped of Silksong. Or if I'm wrong. I'm not. Because these are my feelings, these are my opinions, these are my reasons that I stopped loving that game. And oh, it was such a bad breakup too. Like I said, the first 2 acts were chef's kiss beautiful. But that 3rd act turnaround, that was... It was bad. Side note, I was going to cut there, but I won't. Side note, I will eventually stream Silksong. Absolutely. 100% will. When we get to Act 3, and we go for the ending, because if I am going to stream it, I am going to beat it fully. I will point out all the problems I had. Alright, if this wasn't enough, you'll know when I stream it next time. Or, you know what? Maybe by that point I'll have... No, probably not. Never mind. No, I'll still probably hate it. Now that we've got that ranting and raving out of the way, we are back to the games that I absolutely loved. I mean, I still did love Silksong, but to a point, as we've very vehemently and detailedly described. But we're on to number 2 now. And number 2 is a bit of a surprise, for me specifically, because I don't normally go for these types of games. These types of games being multiplayer streamer games. You know the genre. Mostly because I don't play with other people. I'm a single player person, not by choice, but I want friends. But this one in particular piqued my interest because, spoilers, because I've actually been looking for kind of a game kind of like it with those kinds of mechanics, but also it just looked really fun and a bit of a challenge for a single player, even though there were things that said, hey, you could actually do this in single player. And I have. Multiple times. I've reached the peak. I am Wolf. The second spot goes to Peak. I loved this game. And I think specifically, I loved I loved the entire thing. The gameplay of climbing the mountain, the managing of your stamina bar, which is also your health bar, which is also your hunger bar. It's actually it's really good. Those 2 things combined of climbing the mountain, oh god, I have no strength, I'm falling to my death now. Those 2 things on top of the inventory stuff and the items and the different levels of really creative levels, I want to say, including the new updates on those levels as well. So creative in the just world that Peak has. But that's only part of it. The real thing that made me fall in love with this game is the curve. The curve. So you start off... It's also just both single player and multiplayer, even though it's, I'm only single player here. I'm lonely. You start off at the shore. It's all laughs and jokes, and we're going to make it to the top. And you do, and you keep going, and you keep going, to the point where you're at the caldera and the kiln, and it's so not funny anymore. It's intense. You have the swath of emotion from this lighthearted, oh, we're going to climb a mountain, to the, I don't let go of my hand, I'm going to fall into the lava. every single time. That's impressive. You look for it when you watch or play Peak yourself. It starts off nice and happy. We're joking. Everything's gonna be fine. And slowly but surely you get to the end and it becomes the most intense fight for your life. I loved that. I love that, including all of its gameplay mechanics and stuff. Peak, surprisingly, but very much earned my number 2 spot. And, I mean, I'm definitely going to assume there's going to be some more levels. There's mirrors in, the mirror levels in each step. I'm looking for, whatever Shore mirrors into. I don't know if Shore would change, but we'll see. And then whatever the Caldera changes, maybe even the Kiln, but doubtful. I don't know. Whatever that team does with Peak, though, it's going to be really, really good and totally unexpected. So, yeah, I'm well and truly putting Peak at the number 2 spot this year. Finally, it is time to crown the very best, the top, the number 1 spot, my favorite game of 2025. And I'm a little surprised that it hit number 1. I knew when I finished this game that it was going to be on this list. I knew at the end, from the beginning, early this year, first month, I think it was second month that I played this on stream, that I knew this was going to be on the list. But after this entire year, after all this time, it still had that staying power to be titled number 1. Comparing it to all the other games, all the other titles, I was a bit shocked, but not inherently surprised. It deserves it. Not for the same reasons that the other games are on this list, mind you. We'll get into why, but for me, my top game, my favorite game of 2025 that I played was the Talos Principle 2. Now, if you're not familiar with the Talos Principle series, they are a laser puzzle, three-dimensional game, a three-dimensional laser puzzle game, right order of words there, that are really good. The first Talos Principle, it was really fun. It was a very good puzzle game that had this highbrow concept of understanding the self and what makes a human human, and real high concept, not decision making, discussions and philosophy. There's the word, philosophy of the self. Like I said, it's what makes a human human, because in that game, spoilers, you're a program and you are, doing these puzzles, but also figuring things out and questioning things. And by the end, you are printed into the first android to repopulate a broken world. It was really good. It was really, really good. So when the sequel was coming out, obviously I was very interested in playing it. And, well, it picks up not right where, but it picks up where the first game ends. You are now a civilization of androids that have kind of gone through the same process that the first android did. In fact, the first android that you played in the first game is their theoretical god. Kind of? So, this is where the game's high points for me kick in. The story. Because we, in the first game, went for high concept self-discovery. In the second, we're going high concept social discovery and discussion. all the new androids that you talk to have different philosophies of the world and how it should be run and what is and isn't the best choice for the future. And at that point in the beginning of 2025, yeah, that was nailing on the head there. That was pinpointing exactly what kind of is so topical for a game that was not made for that specific year. But it was so impactful to me. The entire storyline process, all the way to the ending, we talked philosophy and heady concepts of politics and what is and isn't it to be a group of people moving for the future, and what is progress, and what does it mean that progress is good or bad? Should we not progress? So many ideas crammed so well into this story of puzzles being solved. That is the one thing that I will say knocks this game just a little bit off. And I did talk about this when we finished the game, my conclusion rating, of course, that this game's concept and story outshined the puzzles. They were still great puzzles. We did so much. We completed, I think, all of the puzzles, except the DLC, which I still do want to play. We did everything to get the final ending there that we strived for. That I strived for, that I was building towards and figured out throughout the way. But comparatively to the first game, the puzzles were much more the main focus, and the story, while very interesting and very thought-provoking, was more of a lesser point, whereas Talos Principle is the reverse. The story is the thing. For me, at least. That was the thing that drove me, and the puzzles were great, but not as great as the story. But because of that, the story being so impactful and the puzzles being really good, it just stayed with me. Stayed with me throughout the year. I think it is beautiful. The characters, the storytelling, the high concept without being preachy. That's the other thing. You can be high concept talking about all this social, not socialism, but social society stuff, but be also preachy about it and being like, oh no, this is what you should do and this is the way it should be. No, there was no, hey, this is what should be. This is all it was here's all these points of opinion. Here's all this information and what's going on. You make a decision. And it did it so well. I think it's probably, as game stories go, one of my favorites. It's really high up there. But the point being, though, that off the top of my head, other than Talos Principle 2, I can't think of necessarily other video game stories that I've played that hit so well. I'm really... Now I have to think. I know BioShock hit pretty high, but that's only because the twist happened. I'm looking at my collection there. Do I have anything? No, not on there. Not there. No games on the shelf specifically. Now I'm trying to think about... Now I have to go and search that for myself. I'm going to have to go through my library of games and really look, but the fact that I can't think of anything that is so impactful, that has stayed with me throughout this entire year, is saying something about the Talos Principle 2. And honestly, that's why it earns the crown this year. It's so good. If you are someone that likes to get a bit existential, this is the title for you. And if you can't play puzzles or you don't do puzzles very well, I just happen to have an entire playthrough of that game on my Stream Archive channel. Oh yeah, and I have Stream Archive channel. We'll get to that in the end of the year vlog. But yeah, no, it's so worth it to check out. And at some point, I will get that DLC, and we will play the other puzzles, and I'm very curious to see if they keep with the story aspects based on who you play and what's going on. I think they probably will, but I'm also expecting the puzzles to be harder. So maybe the DLC will balance the story out at the end. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, Talos Principle 2 heavy-handedly takes the #1 spot of this year. How long has it been? 2 hours on the dot. Okay. Well, the video's not going to be 2 hours, but the recording's been 2 hours on the dot. We are done. That has been the top 7 games of the Did and Didn't playlist. I hope you enjoyed. Let's do the final rundown. Okay, for the Didn't playlist, we have number 7, Divinity 3, question mark? Something. Larian Studios nail everything that they do, so we know it's going to be good. At the number 6 spot, Enter the Gungeon 2. If it's just like Enter the Gungeon, but with a new coat of paint and some really cool stuff going on, yeah, no, I'm gonna love it. At the number 5 spot, we have Grime 2. Look forward in the future to my Grime 1 playthrough when I do that on stream at some point. I don't know when, but it'll happen. But yeah, no, I like Grime, so Grime 2 is probably going to be pretty good. 4 is Vampire Crawlers. If it's anything like Vampire Survivors and the hectic, stroke-inducing mind-eyegasm that game is, with a dungeon crawler and deck builder aspect, yeah, that's gonna be a good game too. Number 3, I missed completely. You're looking... Okay. You're looking real time right now, me realizing I did not do number 3. In the edit, it will be seamless. But right now, for the people that are watching, you have just, in real time, saw me realize I didn't actually do number 3. I'm going to have to record that and put that in, aren't I? Yes, you are. Oh, fuck me. Well, okay. I'll still do the ending here, but now you know. Magic of editing. At number 3, it was Elden Ring. It was Night Rain. It was Night Rain. I mean, it's Elden Ring, but as like a rogue extraction thing. It's just really cool, and if I want to play Elden Ring while having new experiences, because, I mean, I've beaten Elden Ring and Erdtree, so the newness is worn off, and now it's just doing different builds. Night Rain is what will, bring me back into that world and have me keep playing. So yeah, that's what I talked about in spot 3. Moving on. Number 2 is Control Resonant. That's going to be a trippy fucking mess of a game, and I am all for it. It's going to be good. And number 1, Blueprints. I'm hopefully going to be picking that up on sale in the coming weeks, and we'll probably be playing that on stream at some point. Very excited. For the Did playlist, my favorite games of the year, we have... well, actually, first, for the honorable mentions, it was the RimWorld DLCs. Yeah, no, it's a good game. Good DLCs. Nothing said, nothing done. Did play a list. The number 7 goes to Lego Brick Tales. Nostalgia in tenfold. Love it. Number 6, Islanders New Shores. It's Islanders, but more and better with new things. I didn't mention there's also challenges that you can do that are really cool and difficult, and it also varies up the game and its replayability. So yeah, no, New Shores is absolutely great. Crop Rotation at number 5. I wish I could stream that game. I'm gonna have to do some real janky workaround, but eventually. But yeah, no, that is just an absolute treasure of a deck builder management game. You should totally check it out. It's cheap too, like $5, even not on sale. Oh no, maybe it was 10. It's still cheap. It's honestly, it's real cheap, but real worth it. Number 4 is Monster Hunter Wilds. It's just chill and relaxed Monster Hunter. I liked it. I know other people didn't, but I liked it. Number 3 is Silksong. While I had the highest of highs with that game, it also had the lowest of lows, and eventually we will do it on stream, maybe when the DLC is out, but again, I'm not totally looking forward to it, so we'll see whenever that happens. Number 2 is Peak. It peaked, and yeah, actually, I really enjoyed solo peaking. It's hard, but it's real fun. I'm definitely streaming more of that. I've already done it a few times, but yeah, no, it's really good. And at number 1, the Talos Principle 2. High concept, really good, existential, motherfucking social talking about the world kind of game that just really hits home even now. It's really good. It's really good. And all of the games, very excited to either play or excited to have played. Maybe there is a game that I talked about that you are not aware of, and hopefully I have shown you the error of your ways, and you can go and check those out. Hopefully you do. So, with that said, that's going to be it for today's best games / didn't play list of 2025. I've already got a good lineup of what stuff we will be doing next year. There's going to be some surprises. There are some wish list games that I have talked about in a couple years past that are maybe releasing next year. Fingers crossed. I've actually had a slew of demos come through my office of recent, through my computer here. And there's a new genre of thing that I am very interested in playing. Will not quite worthy yet of being on this list, but we will definitely be checking those out next year when they come out. It's going to be a good gaming year, and it's going to be my 15th year anniversary. Until next time, I have to go record Night Rain now. Bye!